Everybody, Steve here from Movies and TVs on the Ball. Just was wondering what your thoughts on Garfield. So there are a couple things. What was your thoughts on Garfield as a comic strip? Because the comic strip, I think, probably was one of those things that everybody read in the funnies when they were kids, and then it kind of dissolved into, for me, Garfield and Friends, which had sort of a different vibe to it, and was, had the farm, and then they had, Garfield talking to Odie, and how he kind of thought, and how Garfield was very kind of sarcastic and semi-cynical. How he would make John sort of a kind of a give John hell. And then there was the two Garfield films with Bill Murray that came out, I think, in 2004 and 2007. It was Garfield, one with Garfield and Garfield. It was Garfield, Tale of Two Kitties, and that one was a pretty decent film. I kind of liked the guy that played something Beck played John, and then you had Jennifer Love Hewitt who played Liz, and it was a pretty decent. I mean, I think Odie didn't talk, but he was not as animated as Odie was. It was a pretty good. It was an alright film. I don't know if watching it for nostalgia reasons, it was alright. But what was funny about that film was Bill Murray wanted to sign on because he wanted to. He signed a contract so he could work with Ian Cohen and the Cohen brothers, but it was a different Cohen director that directed Garfield, and he was still obligated to do it because he signed a contract. But I did like the strips. I thought the strips were funny, and I thought the version of the strips were pretty good. So let me know what your thoughts are on Garfield, and as always, like and subscribe. Everybody, Steve here from Movies and TVs on the Ball, and I was wondering what your thoughts are on Garfield, the comic strip and the animated TV series. I grew up on with Garfield and Friends, and I did read the comic book every once in a while. The comic strip every once in a while, but I did like the animated television show. I thought it was very funny. I thought the comedy worked and the sarcasm worked. And then they had like one with the barnyard, and then Garfield kind of came out, I think, in 2006, 2005, 2004, somewhere around the early 2000s, with the Garfield movie. Now, the Garfield movie had the voice of Bill Murray, and I think Bill Murray as the voice of Garfield, and then you had both something Beck. He was in Clueless. He was, and you had Jennifer Love Hewitt as Liz, and the guy that played the guy in Clueless was John. And what's your thoughts on it? It was voiced by Bill Murray. Bill Murray was actually thinking that he was going to be doing a movie with the Coen brothers, but it was a different Coen, and got mixed up, but he was contractually obligated. I thought the movie was pretty good. Then he did a sequel for Garfield, Tale of Two Kitties, where he went to England, and it worked out pretty well. And then he did a Garfield kind of was in the consciousness, and I think Chris Pratt recently did Garfield in more of a CGI film. But I like Garfield. I thought Garfield was really good. I like the comic strips more than I like the movies. I think Lorenzo someone was the voice, and Garfield was really great. And I like John. I feel like John had some trouble John was a pretty good, he always looked like his eyes like this, and looked like he was just so unenthusiastic. But I want to know your thoughts on Garfield. Let me know in the comments below. And as always, like and subscribe. Peace.